Hello there! Today we'll be making one of my favorite breakfast foods, pancakes.
But Alton, why would I make pancakes from scratch when I could just as easily go to any supermarket and buy a box of mix?
Well, yes you could, but how would those pancakes taste? Not as good as homemade delicious pancakes, because that, my friend, is... Just because something tastes great doesn't mean that it's complicated to make. In fact, pancakes just take a few simple ingredients. First, we'll start with the dry mix. I start with a couple cups of white flour. Then I add in a cup of wheat flour, which is great. It makes it a little bit more robust that way. 4 teaspoons of sugar. 8 teaspoons of baking powder. And a teaspoon and a half of salt. Now you can see that we'll need to mix this all together. And it's important that you mix the dry ingredients well. If you don't, you're going to get one pancake with all the baking powder, and the other pancakes will be, well, flat as a pancake. Next, we'll work on the wet ingredients. First, we'll start with 3 eggs, crack them into the bowl here. I actually just crack eggs on the counter. If you have a granite or some sort of a stone counter at home, it's a nice little trick. They crack very nicely on the counter. And I always start with the eggs, because if perchance there's an eggshell in there, ooh, I got lucky this time, you can fish it out before you add the milk and whatnot. Next, what we want to do is beat the eggs slightly. Add 3 cups of milk. Add 2 tablespoons of melted butter. And 2 tablespoons of some sort of oil. I prefer safflower oil. This is not the time to bring out the olive oil or peanut oil. It should be a nice safflower oil, corn oil, something like that. And for a bit of a healthy touch, I'll use a 1/4 cup of applesauce. You might be wondering, wow, that sounds about as icky as possible, but no. Applesauce is a delicious substitute for any sort of oil, and of course it's healthy for you. So now we'll mix it all together. I don't know if you can see this, but trust me, as I mix it, it's getting more and more frothy. What you're essentially doing is beating the eggs until you get some sort of a stiff peak a little bit, or a light peak. And that great frothy mixture makes for really awesome pancakes. All that air gets into the pancakes and they rise really nicely. You'll notice that I'm beating the wet ingredients in a very large bowl. That way I can be pretty aggressive with it and really whisk it in there. The other thing that I say is, if you leave the eggs out on a counter, or even the milk, it gets a little warmer and mixes even better. So next, we'll combine the dry and the wet ingredients. We just add the dry ingredients right to the wet, just like so. And then we take a specially warped wooden spoon. Actually, that's not important, but it's my favorite spoon for making pancakes. And you'll notice that I'm mixing the batter gently into the wet mix. Very gently. And the reason I'm doing this is it's important that you leave some lumps in the pancake mix. You probably heard this before from your grandmother, and she's right. This makes perfect pancakes. Again, just like adding the air to the wet mix is important, leaving some lumps when we combine it is extremely important to make the tastiest pancakes. You don't want like a homogeneous blended mix. You want kind of lumpy batter. So you might wonder how much to mix it. You need to make sure that all of the dry ingredients get wet. That's the key. Once they're all wet, you're good to go, just like that. Next, we'll start by making some pancakes. So we have the batter here, And we've placed a nice cast iron pan on the stove and preheated it for, say, 5 or 10 minutes on medium-high heat. You notice also that during that time, that allows our pancake batter to get nice and thick. So we'll need a little bit of oil on the pan. We'll start with just a little bit of safflower oil. And you can see that's just all you need. And then we'll add a tiny bit of butter. Like that, just like so. That sounds great. What you want to do is get that spread out nice and even. It's going to want to burn on you, so before that happens, you want to add the pancakes. It's not as tricky as it sounds to make pancakes. You just, a few scoops, a 1/4 cup pancake mix. Right there, right there. And we're on number 3 now. Just like that, and away you go. If the pan's running a little hot or cold, you can always make an adjustment, but keep in mind that with a cast iron pan like this, if it takes 5 or 10 minutes to heat up, it's going to take 5 or 10 minutes to cool down. So when you make an adjustment, just be patient and watch for what happens. I don't know if you folks can smell those pancakes, but they smell great to me, and they look great too. The next step is flipping them over. So this is the part where I just have to say, don't get all crazy about flipping them over. It's just a quick little flip of the wrist. You're just going to go like this and flip them over. And don't be all like shaky about it or too firm or too soft. Just flip the pancakes over and you'll be just fine. So first we take a little peek. Let's see if this one's getting close at all. Ooh, that looks beautiful. So we'll take this one. Just give it a little flip, just like that. Next one, a little flip, just like that. Okay, it does that, just complete it up. And the last one, just like that. See? Not perfect, but just tasty all the same. And you can see these are nice and golden brown. Of course, you don't want to cook them too long, but these actually came out very nice. And because we took all those steps when we were making the batter, you can see that the microwave is just beeping and beeping. So I guess it's time to take them off. So we'll do that. Yep, they look pretty good. Take these off. And that's all there is to making delicious pancakes.
You're definitely right. These are way better than anything I could ever make from a box.
Yeah, I like it with lots of syrup, and it's just a guilty pleasure. Pure Vermont maple syrup and my trusty MacBook nearby, and these delicious pancakes. You can't do much better than that. Those really are delicious. And this has been Good Eats with Alton Brown.